Chapter 8. My Favorite Day. I was sad once the snow melted the next day, but happy to be back in my home. I gave my litter box and all the cat food on hand to Lupita, even though she had plenty for Yoshi. The first night without him was depressing, but after I got to talk to her on the phone and video chat with the cat, I know it sounds weird, shut your stupid face, loser, my anxiety and depression lessened to the point I could sleep. A few days later, when payday came around, I decorated my apartment by sticking up huge posters that made me happy. One was a large poster of Chun-Li from Street Fighter 2. Another was a picture of a black cat that looked exactly like Yoshi. And finally, a poster of Betty White wearing shades. Why? Because she's a bad bitch and I absolutely idolize her. There was a caption under it that read, 99% of people don't keep it 100. May the Queen, Betty White, rest in peace. In the newest video, February 2nd, I decided to debut my makeup skills by appearing for the first time with makeup done on myself to perfection. This confidence boost inspired many viewers, both male and female, to relate their own triumphs in the comments, no matter how small. I was off this day, and when I turned on the camera, I was smiling. Konnichiwa, everybody, I said, and took note of the lighting from behind the computer, which lit my face evenly without blinding people with how worryingly pale I was. Well, now, instead of looking like a life-size China doll, the blush and other concoctions I decorated my mug with added depth, color, and highlights to my smile. And trust me, I was doing a lot more smiling nowadays. Blush was my best friend. So today, as you can see, I've decided to add something else to shock your eyeballs. I put makeup on all by myself. This was taught to me by the gorgeous fluffy princess, who showed me that self-care is self-love. I've reflected on this phrase and it has helped my state of mind drastically. I decided that putting on makeup and trying to look a little presentable on camera from here on out is one little way I can treat myself. Crayola, I'm trademarking the color Pale Asian Girl, so you guys better get on it and beat me to it. On a much more serious note, I think we should celebrate small triumphs. For example, getting to work on time, eating a delicious snack. Hell, in my case, getting dolled up so the girl in the mirror who winks back at me can say, "Get out there and grab life by the nose." And that, my friends, is today's lesson. Enjoy the journey. Shoulder the burden with a smile. Appreciate the average. Celebrate being alive. Arigato. Ren out. When I said the words dolled up, my phone dinged like crazy, but I merely glanced down at it without looking at what had been sent. Once I set the video to be published online, I checked the messages and noted it was Mom blowing up my phone with text messages. Ren! Hello there, Ren-chan. Laura Ann Bowman. Guess who's coming to town, Laura? Santa Claus? I replied. I even included a little laughing face emoji. Your dad, LOL, Mom replied. I literally laughed so hard that my cheeks and stomach began hurting. I called her while still trying to catch my breath. Mom, that was too funny. You had me rolling. There was a knock at my door and she replied while I was pushing in my chair and heading over to answer it. I'm not kidding, Ren. He called me today and said he'd be in town today. Yeah, for today, I said. I already know if he is in town. I opened the door while talking. I'm still not going to get to spend a full day. The man outside was Japanese-American and had a smile that could charm a cobra. His eyes had all the subtlety of the rising sun in them, and his wrinkles were of a man who smiles a lot and works hard. His straight black hair was pretty long and pulled into a ponytail that reached his shoulder blades. With Daddy, I finished in complete shock. Mom was still on the phone. Ren? Hello? The man, my father, presented me with a small bonsai tree. Hello, Ren-chan, he said. Surprised to see me? Ren, my mom sang over the line. The phone slid out of my fingers and clattered to the floor, protected by the white kitty cat case with the cute beady eyes I had put on it. I collapsed straight back like a plank, fainting so hard that I literally have no memory of even falling down. What I do recall is waking up to Dad fanning my face with a magazine while I was sitting back on the couch. I roused from my daze and felt a sharp sensation on the back of my head. There was an ice pack there wrapped in a small towel. Ren, are you all right? He asked, his tone thick with concern. I looked around. Did I seriously just faint when I saw you? He shrugged. He spoke perfect English, I had a very slight UK accent which reminded me of any British actor of classical theatre. This was because my father's father was taught English by a man from Liverpool, and my dad learned from him and inherited the very same accent, pronunciations and all. When I learned to speak as a toddler, I learned English with an American accent taken from my mother and from various TV shows I watched growing up, and very specific phrases in Japanese such as hello, goodbye, thank you, you're welcome, and I need help. Everything else was learned through the internet or through anime. I sincerely apologize for all the time lost between us, he said in a somber tone, but not a moment has gone by where I wished I could have chosen a simpler career path to be with my family. But now I've retired, and I have all the time in the world. I even kept in touch with your channel, and I am extremely proud of you, my daughter. You've seen my videos? I asked. Every single one so far, Miss Anthropy, he said. You've grown up so much, Ren, and now I've got to keep my promise of spending the entire day and every day with you. Papa-san, is it true that you're a fisherman? He guffawed and slapped his knee. I used to. I'm the CEO of Blueprint Fishery. I was barely home because as you were growing up, I was signing contracts, buying old businesses, giving speeches, and writing checks. We have also used our profits to anonymously donate money to developing nations to help end hunger and build roads and schools. We've also donated food during natural disasters. If I had money like that, I'd do what I could to make the world a better place too, I said, despite the fact that humans make me physically sick to be around. That's mostly my fault too, but it's also the world's fault. The times are changing, Ren-chan. I know. It's so hard to be nice when it's easier to be rude. I began crying and was unable to contain my frustration. But when people grab my butt or cough in my face or call me a foul name, how am I supposed to stand there and let them do it? I completely understand why you feel the way you feel towards everybody with a pulse, Dad told me as I sobbed. We live in a world where it's easier to give up than it is to try harder, where it's easier to take offense to something rather than to laugh at it, where it's easier to tolerate than to accept, to show hostility and hatred rather than compassion and love. Dad, I love you. And today I want to hug you and Falcon punch you in the face. I laughed through my tears. He smirked. I brought you another present that will solve that problem. He took me out to his little car that had one of those arcade cabinets in a box like the ones sold at Walmart and Costco and stuff. It was designed to look like Mortal Kombat 2, and we built it together. Once it booted up in the apartment, we played together, and it felt good to spend some time with this man. What felt even better was steamrolling his Liu Kang with Kung Lao in our first match and pulling off a fatality. Alright, you got me, he laughed. But that was just because I didn't go with Kitana that time. Mirror match? I asked him. Bring it on, Ren, he cheered. As we played, I asked him, So, Papa-san, how did you guys end up naming me? Well, I wanted to name you Ren, he explained as we bashed each other's skulls in with our leotard-clad assassins. It means lotus in Japanese, and is the most beautiful flower in the world. Duh, stop, I giggled. He continued, But your mother argued that in English, Ren is a masculine name, whereas the name in Japanese is gender neutral. So we compromised and she named you Laura Ann Bowman, and I called you Ren. That is absolutely crazy, I said. So unbelievable. But not as unbelievable as this! Finish her! The game roared. My character got close and Dad watched with a smile. But instead of killing him, Kitana turned around and when she turned to the camera again, presented Dad with a little cake. Friendship. Dad gave me a big hug. I love you, Ren. We went out for lunch at KFC, which is both of our favorite places to eat. Mom came with us, and I insisted on paying. We shared a bucket of chicken in the restaurant, and when we were done, Mom went off to make more videos, and Dad and I went back to my place to watch movies together. For dinner, we ordered a pizza, and Raj delivered it when I specifically asked for him to do it. Dad answered the door and said with a straight face, You've got the wrong apartment, and slammed the door. After about 6 seconds, he opened it again, laughing, and invited Raj in. I kissed him in front of Dad, and he took a picture of us with his phone and sent me a copy. Dad, this is Rajesh. Raj, this is my father, Ken Bowman. You're the cat allergy guy, right? Dad asked. Raj laughed nervously. Yes, sir, I am. Don't feel bad. I'm allergic to nuts. He kept a hand over his mouth and pointed to me, silently mouthing the words, I've been sneezing nonstop since I got here. I playfully smacked Dad's chest with my hand and smirked. Love your makeup, Raj told me. It looks great. Thanks, I said. Raj then gasped and walked over to the arcade machine. Oh yeah, Dad just brought that. I have a Street Fighter one at my house, he said. Raj, you never told me you liked video games, I exclaimed. I'm not good at a lot of them, but I am a master at fighting games. He looked at my Chun-Li poster and rose an eyebrow. You should see my Akuma poster. On our next date, I told him and playfully punched his arm. You're on. Raj, are you from India? Dad asked him. Yep, I actually came here of my own will a decade and change ago, he said. Did you come from Japan? My father did, Dad said. I was born in California and moved here with my wife before acquiring a job at a fishery and then owning it. One day, I'll take you guys to Dubai, Raj offered Dad. Dad smiled. And after that, I will take us to Kyoto. Nice, I exclaimed. The two men shook hands. Can I come with you guys? They laughed and both hugged me. All right, I better get back, Lev, Raj said, kissing my forehead. Wait, Dad exclaimed, taking out his wallet. How much is a pizza? Raj winked. Last one on my route. It's free. Hey, that's not a company policy, I exclaimed. That's a Raj policy. He smiled. Every night I work, one person gets their dinner free. After Raj left, Dad turned to me. That man lives and breathes compassion and embodies charity. The world needs more people like him. I blushed. I guess fate made me run into him, huh? You're a very lucky woman, he said, and he is a very lucky man. You're barely learning all of the lessons that he has seemingly mastered. You could learn from his example, Renchan. We sat down and finished movies while pigging out on our mom and me at Mega. I fell asleep on the couch at some point, and Dad woke me up just to lay my head on his shoulder where I drifted off to sleep again while we were watching Return of the Jedi, a movie that heavily revolves around Luke Skywalker and his own daddy issues. Go figure, it was my favorite Star Wars movie of the entire saga. When Dad tried to move me, I clung onto him and in a half-sleep daze said, Don't leave me again. Just gonna carry you to bed, he said. The guy was quite strong for being my height, effortlessly carried me and set me in my bed before covering me with a blanket and kissing the crown of my head. He laid down in the living room on the couch. Today was my favorite day. When I awoke the next morning, I had no idea how I ended up in my bed, but I smelled delicious meat being cooked and walked to the tiny kitchen where Dad was making eggs, sausage, bacon, and toast. Morning, Ren. Morning, Papa-san, I told him and offered him a huge hug, which he returned. Hope you slept okay. He nodded. Better than an airplane seat or a cot, he said. Full course breakfast okay? Sure, I said, sitting on the couch. I didn't know I bought bacon and eggs. You didn't, he said. I went out and bought everything. I smiled. That's sweet. He put everything on 2 plates and then brought them to the couch, handing me one. Isn't that what parents are for? I shrugged. Thank you. Where are you staying? He put his sausage patty in his mouth and chewed it before speaking. My house. Your house? I asked in confusion. He rose an eyebrow. The one your mom lives in, Renchan. Right, I said, with a laugh as I broke the bacon in half with my fingertips. Duh. It's too early for me to think, apparently. You slept hard last night, he said. I carried you to bed and you were out cold. I laughed and said, I knew that was real. I thought I dreamt it. He snickered and shook his head. How's your channel doing? Good, I said. Want to make a video with me this morning? He nodded excitedly. I have an account, but I just use it to watch, he said. I thought of documenting our journeys, but I thought it felt like bragging. I don't want my company to get praised as a charitable company out for attention and credit. We give selflessly and anonymously. Rad, I said as I ate. Dad, I love you. He smiled. I love you too, Ren. The video we made together was done with me sitting in the chair and Dad peeking over my shoulder. Konnichiwa, I said. Dad was unsure of where to stand to fit in frame. Dad, kneel here. See, look. No, look here at the camera lens. Hello, everyone, he said. Konnichiwa! I'm Renchan's dad, Ken. So this is the man, the myth, the legend, my Papa-san. I said. Yesterday, He kept his promise of spending the whole day with me, and we had fun. I had fun too, he said with a cute little smile. It was so organic and I couldn't help but chuckle. This man has been able to watch me grow through the magic of this channel, so be nice. Yeah, go easy on her. I meant be nice to my daddy, I corrected him. So each episode I share my wisdom with what I learned that day. Dad, can you share with them the wisdom you imparted upon your beloved only daughter? Absolutely, he said. Wash your hands every time you use the bathroom, even if you just pee. Not that advice, I laughed. Oh, no sex till you're married, and even then once a week in different rooms of the house. I cupped my hands in embarrassment over my face, but also to keep from laughing. Jesus, Buddha, Shiva, and Allah, the thing you told me yesterday. Right, he said with a completely straight face. If you're going to give something to help someone else, do it anonymously. Do it without getting credit for it. Exactly right, Daddy-O, I added with a head nod. In the words of Rambo, he continued, and then did what is, hands down, the most perfectly accurate impression of Sylvester Stallone ever, said this: live for nothing, or die for something. All right already, you ham, I cracked. Dad laughed at himself. Did you guys know that Rambo First Blood Part 2 is my favorite movie of all time? I thought it was Return of the Jedi, he corrected me. Search your feelings, you know it to be true. I shook my head and smirked. I love this dude. Say bye, Papa-san. Bye, Papa-san, he said and waved. I slapped my own face. Do my outro with me, I said. We had timing issues, but redid the ending multiple times, both saying arigato ran out together before he blew a kiss at the camera. How'd I do? Dad asked as I was still trying to stop the video. I responded in my best British accent. I think you were bloody wonderful, honestly. Top-notch, a block off the old chip, if I say so myself, and I do. In an even more exaggerated accent, Dad replied, Smashing British! I shook my head and finally ended the video before erupting into laughter. That's going to be the one that people absolutely love. You're funny. I get it from you, he said and kissed the side of my head before standing. I got to see your mom today. Oh, Dad, I said with a huge pouty face. Do you have to go already? I promised your mother we would do stuff today, and it wouldn't be fair if I broke a promise to either of you. Besides, like I said, I am retired now and we can hang out any time. Give Raj my number, okay? I smiled and hugged Dad tightly. Thank you for making me so happy. He hugged me back and said, Thank you for letting me back into your life. My biggest fear was that I blew all of my chances with the times I put off spending time with you. But if I had neglected my duties, my business would have failed and we would have lost everything. It was a risk worth taking, I said. He left, but popped back into the room and said, And next time we play some Mortal Kombat, you're going down. Bring it, old man, I said, and he grinned before he left. I logged in to work on my computer, and Raj knocked on my door. Raj, what a surprise. Hey, doll, he said and kissed me. I still got butterflies and melted in his grip. Have you seen my phone? No. Did you drop it somewhere? Well, I use it as a GPS on my car's dashboard when I'm making deliveries, and last night when I got back into the car after seeing you and your dad, it was gone. I was pretty certain it was still in there, but I checked everywhere and retraced my steps. I can't find it. Puzzling. I shrugged. I haven't seen it, but hope you find it soon. Me too, he said. So are you doing anything tonight? I wanted to see if you were interested in an Indian-style dinner and a movie at my place. Indian food? I asked. Exotic. I've never eaten it. Then allow Chef Raj to impress you. 6? I asked. Perfect, he said and winked. I'll be here on the dot. Catch you later, hunk, I said with a wink, and we played tonsil hockey one last time before he took off. I had to wipe his spit off my chin before I retreated back into the house. I was excited about this date. New food? New movies? This was set to be 2 excellent days in a row. I was hyper with excitement as I worked and texted Lupita with the exciting news. Going to Raj's later, I texted her. Indian dinner/movie. She replied almost instantly. Sweet! Can't wait to meet him! You two should swing by and we can all get stoned together. I sent a cigarette emoji, a dog, and a poop emoji. She replied with a question mark and I said, Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke reference. If you know, you know. Oh, right, I get it. Ha ha, good one, chica, she replied with about 100 laughing faces. I reflected on the previous day and how happy it made me. Could life get any better? Was it getting better? My brain thought otherwise. As I worked at my computer, Something reminded me that sunshine is behind every dark cloud, but almost every dark cloud is a storm that is on the way to bring you trouble.